Episode 10, Ferrari 812. Vanessa also noticed the awkward atmosphere between the two of them. Hence, she quickly walked over to Glenn to mediate their conflict. "Mr. Landlord, I wonder how much Mr. James owes you for the rent?" Not much. It's only $500. Glenn narrowed his eyes into a thin slit. There was a flash of shrewdness in his gaze as he looked at Vanessa. This guy was very cunning. He had been planning to threaten James on purpose if he did not pay the rent. He wanted this beauty who came with James to hear about this. When he first came out, he had already seen through Vanessa's identity at a glance. Judging from her looks, she should belong to a well-off family. Then he began to think of a plan, wondering if she would take the initiative to help James pay the rent. He did not expect things to develop so smoothly. As the landlord, he couldn't care less about embarrassing James. He only wanted his money. $500, right? I'll pay for him. Vanessa did not say anything more and took out her phone to transfer the money. However, her words made James, who was especially concerned about his reputation, feel a little hot. His face reddened in embarrassment. They had not known each other for long. Furthermore, Vanessa had only come here to stay for a night. But now they had not even entered the house yet, but she had to help him pay the rent first. This really made James lose face. He wished he could dig a hole and bury himself. "No, you can't take her money." Seeing Glenn happily take out his phone and prepare to accept Vanessa's transfer, James quickly stopped him. He was a person who cared a lot about his dignity. He did not want to lose face in front of Vanessa. After all, he still wished to leave a good impression in her mind. On the other hand, Glenn cared about money as much as his life. When he got stopped by James, he immediately retorted, "Why not? Then why don't you give me money?" James was rendered speechless by his question. "Why have you gone silent now? Young man, don't be embarrassed. Seeing that this beautiful lady is willing to pay for you, you should consider it a blessing. The thing about your face is that it's worth nothing. Don't be so proud, okay? In this world, you have to accept your fate when you are poor." While James was at a loss for words, Glenn became even more riled up. He stared at him with disdain and threw a whole speech in one breath. Glenn, don't go too far." Glenn's words had seriously provoked James. He clenched his fist and was prepared to punch him. He had to bring this guy down a peg or two. However, Vanessa had already transferred the money to Glenn by then. The landlord knew that he had overstepped his boundaries, so he quickly ran away. James originally wanted to give chase and beat him up to vent the resentment in his heart, but he was pulled back by Vanessa. She gently shook her head and said, "James, there's no need to bicker with such a person. He's not worth it." James thought about it and agreed with her words. Damn it. He was worth billions now. How could he still argue with such a small townsman? It seemed that he had acted beneath his status and made Vanessa look down on him even more. "Thank you, Vanessa." James turned his head to look at her and showed his appreciation with a smile. "If you want to thank me, you have to be sincere. You can't just say it with your mouth. Show it with your actions instead. I don't have high requirements. How about you give me an office building in the Global Financial Center?" Vanessa said jokingly. However, one had to admit that she really had a huge appetite. "One floor is nothing. A beauty like you deserves 10 floors. But you have to agree to one of my conditions." James smiled evilly. He did not reject her, even countering her offer with an offer of his own. Seeing James's crafty smile, Vanessa knew that this guy was definitely up to no good. Still, she was curious what he would demand of her. She casually asked, "What condition?" "Marry me." After James said that, he immediately sped into the corridor, not daring to wait for her reaction. Vanessa was stunned for a moment before the words clicked in her mind. She rushed up to James, but he was already gone. She chased after him while shouting, "Dream on! Hey, stop right there!" The two of them went up to the 5th floor just like that. Their actions looked like a couple flirting with each other rather than a serious fight. James lived in a small apartment with a bedroom and a living room. Although the place was not big, it was clean and tidy. Vanessa did not feel bad when she entered the house. James used to live with his ex-girlfriend here, but she was not the one who cleaned this place. It was James himself. He liked the cleanliness, so he was the one in charge of maintaining the house. No matter how tired he was at work, he would not slack off in the chores. Vanessa, sit on the sofa for a while. After entering the apartment, James signaled Vanessa to sit on the sofa while he rushed to the bedroom. He had suddenly remembered that there were many photos of Natalie and him on his bedroom wall. Since they had already separated, there was no need to keep these things to affect his mood. He had cut her off from his life. James walked into the bedroom and was about to get rid of everything revealed to Natalie when the system sound suddenly rang in his ears. Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Ferrari 812 sports car. James was originally in a hurry to throw away Natalie's stuff. After all, he did not want Vanessa to see these things. As a result, he forgot about the system's reminder earlier that this was the next check-in location. He did not expect that once he stepped into the bedroom, he would trigger the check-in. Only then did he realize what had happened. Wait, what? Ferrari 812? Isn't that the $500,000 sports car? James was shocked when he figured out what was going on. He muttered to himself in his heart. However, the system assumed James was talking to it. The host is right. This is the latest Ferrari model, 812. The market price is $500,000. Oh God, it really is true. Men were born to pursue passion, excitement, and speed. When James heard the confirmation from the system, his heart couldn't help but beat wildly in his chest. The sports car in red color made James feel excited just thinking about it, let alone owning it. That was the dream of all the men in the world, and it happened to him, just like that. This system is awesome. It allowed me to live a life that I couldn't even imagine in the past. It's really amazing. James was shocked once again. In fact, he still couldn't believe it. Who would have thought that the system would answer again? Of course. If it isn't powerful, can it be called a global check-in system? Host, don't be too excited. You just need to follow the mission spot and complete each mission one by one. The rewards after that will be rich enough to make you doubt your life. James was initially in awe, but then he felt that there was something wrong with the system's tone. Damn it. He was the host and its owner, but its tone just now was full of disdain. Was this how a system should behave? James felt that he had to show who was the boss here, or else it would become more and more arrogant in the future. Thinking of this, James shouted coldly, "Who's excited? Shut up. Did I let you speak? If it's not necessary next time, don't speak without my permission. Otherwise, I'll format you. Do you hear me?" The moment the system heard the word format, it immediately trembled in fear. It quickly replied, "Understood, host." As a system, formatting was equivalent to death. James used this point to instantly subdue it. "How do I receive the reward?" James asked coldly. The system answered promptly like a well-behaved child. "Host, the sports car is parked in the parking space downstairs. The car keys will be delivered in 10 minutes. Please check and accept. The next mission spot is the Lux Villa District Sales Hall. May I ask, host, do you have any other questions?" It was much more honest now, and even its tone became polite. It seemed that some things needed to be cleaned up once in a while. There's nothing more. James felt pretty satisfied with himself. When the system heard that, it quickly hid in the depth of James' brain, not daring to make any more noise.